My little sister pinned her ADHD freakouts on me for years. I shared a home with a powder keg named Mia, but she wasn't like those envious siblings who mimic you. She didn't imitate me. She yanked me straight into the depths. If I strolled by her bedroom, her hysterical outburst was somehow my doing. If I munched on my morning granola, her rage fit stemmed from the sound of my crunching. If I aced a biology exam, her weeping collapse was blamed on the school stress I apparently inflicted. I'm Olivia, and for 16 years, I convinced myself I was the poison in my family's air. It began subtly, almost convincingly. Back in 7th grade at Willow Creek Middle School, I'd be tackling geometry problems at our dining table when Mia would burst in, tears flooding her cheeks. She'd stomp right to Mom and Dad, howling about how my pen scribbling was sparking her ADHD and blocking her from focusing on a single thing. "Olivia, sweetie, mind shifting to your space?" Mom would plead, that weary gaze in her eyes we all knew too well. "You understand how fragile Mia can be." I didn't resent it back then. Relocating felt simpler than enduring yet another endless 2-hour episode that'd leave Dad massaging his forehead and grumbling about keeping the peace. I'd scoop up my notebooks and slip into my room, figuring I was rising above it all. Little did I know, I was nurturing a beast. By my first year at Evergreen High, Mia's theatrics had upgraded to award-winning spectacles. I'd devoted 3 weeks to organizing my 15th birthday gathering. Nothing elaborate, just a cozy film evening with a handful of pals. We planned to stream The Princess Bride, devour endless bowls of buttery popcorn and slices of chocolate cake, simple, subdued, just us gals unwinding. An hour before my crew was due, Mia unleashed her grandest act to date. She flung herself onto the family room rug, twisting and shrieking about intruders overwhelming her sanctuary. Her cheeks flushed crimson, mucus trailed down her jaw, and she panted so fiercely that Mom snatched the landline, dialing emergency services for real. "Please," Mia gasped amid the gulps. "I can't cope with this crowd. The chatter, the vibe, it's going to spark a full-blown anxiety storm. Olivia knows this sets me off, but she scheduled it regardless because she despises me." Dad shot me a glare like I'd twisted the knife myself. "Olivia, ring your buddies. Inform them the night's off." "But Dad, they're en route already. Emily's ride is coming all the way from Pinewood Lake." And so, Olivia, I dialed those numbers with Mia grinning slyly from behind our folks' shoulders. 5 baffled, let-down friends, 5 cringy chats explaining yet another 11th hour bail. By Monday dawn, I was branded that flake, the one who flakes on commitments, whose home life was a mess, who maybe ought to be skipped for invites because she'd ghost anyway. But the true tipping point hit 3 months on when Dad pulled me aside for what he dubbed a grave chat about your actions. "Olivia, we gotta discuss your siblings' challenges," he intoned, his timbre thick with that parental weight right before they shatter your reality. Mia's counselor, Dr. Thompson, explains her ADHD heightens her to every little disturbance, and regrettably, kiddo, you appeared to be among her prime agitators. Those words slammed into me like a gut punch. "We're pondering relocating you to Aunt Laura's in Seattle if you can't tread lighter around your sister," Dad pressed on, his phrases ringing in my skull like a final verdict. Aunt Laura, the lady hoarding porcelain owls and whipping up salmon bake each Wednesday, the relative in a tiny flat where the nearest thrill was trivia night at the community hall. My whole tomorrow dangled by a thread, captive to Mia's alleged affliction. "I don't get it," I murmured, fingers quivering in my lap. "What's my offense?" Mom edged closer, her features blending pity and irritation. "Darling, it's not like you're scheming harm, but Mia craves steadiness, and Dr. Thompson believes trimming the chaos in her surroundings could help her mood control." Chaos. That's my role in my own abode now, a disruptor to be scrubbed clean. From then on, I haunted my house like a shadow. I crept by Mia's door, dined mutely, bottled up my wins. When I hit the dean's list, I stashed the slip. When I landed a spot on the Quiz Bowl squad, I zipped my lips. I mastered surviving in the voids of our clan, molding around Mia's demands like mist seeping through fissures. But even my hush fell short. One crisp October dawn, I was savoring my breakfast, plain oats, sans cinnamon, because the aroma assaulted Mia's nerves, when she materialized in the threshold like a thunderhead. Her locks disheveled, sleepwear rumpled, eyes bearing that feral, scheming glint I'd come to dread. "You're too noisy," she declared, though I'd been savoring in utter quiet. I glanced up, baffled. "I haven't uttered a peep." "Your utensil, it's rattling the dish, the racket's piercing my skull like pins." She clamped hands over her ears with flair. "I can't focus. I can't inhale. I just can't." And suddenly, she crumpled to the tiles, thrashing as if mid-convulsion. Mom dashed down from the loft. Dad fumbled his mug, spilling dark brew, and boom, I was the fiend once more for the sin of a morning bite. "Olivia, take your plate upstairs," Mom urged, crouching by Mia already. "And tomorrow try a rubber one." As I clutched my dish and plodded up, I spied Mia's mask. For a fleeting beat, believing eyes off her, the torment vanished, swapped for icy triumph. She caught my stare and dove back into the role. Too late. I'd glimpsed the core. That evening, I launched a diary, logging each clash, each spark, each collapse. I convinced myself it was pattern hunting, sisterly improvement. But at heart, I suspect I was amassing proof for a trial I hadn't foreseen. The deepest sting wasn't the minefield tread, nor the solitude or axed outings. No, the rawest ache was witnessing my parents morph from the warm, cheering duo at my field hockey matches into drained outsiders, viewing me as a glitch to fix. November blurred by, then December. Month by month, I faded further, scrubbed away by Mia's one act at a time. Yet I couldn't fathom the depths it'd soon plunge. 3 months hence, I shielded my Yale admission notice like a sacred relic. I'd slaved 4 years for that flawless transcript, burned midnight oil honing my memoir draft, poured my essence into snagging my ideal campus. When that hefty packet landed on a frosty February morn, I sensed my path veering eternal. But in the Whitaker home, even peak triumphs demanded concealment. I'd absorbed the hard way about voicing joys. When I'd clinched top scholar as a junior, Mia staged her fiercest implosion, insisting my shine proved Mom and Dad favored me and the strain was frying her neurons. So now I buried the Yale missive. I turned sly illusionist. It bunked in my mattress lining for 3 days, then taped behind my vanity for a week. During Mom's wash cycles, I tucked it in a dusty applicator case, the ultimate blind spot. Now and then I'd extract it, tracing the Yale crest to whisper that outside these confines, I mattered. But Mia had eyes everywhere. She sniffed out joy like a hound on a trail. Over brunch one Friday, she pinned me mid my hushed repast of fluffy eggs. "You're concealing a gem," she accused, gaze sharpening. "I spot it in that nauseating glow you're masking." My tines halted en route. "What are you on about?" Her tone lilted, teasing, which chilled deeper somehow. "You've shifted, buoyant, like you've stashed some massive boon, elevating you above us mortals." "Mia, I'm merely fueling up." She scanned my mug like a sleuth sifting clues. "Nah, there's a whopper, and I'll unearth it." Before I could halt her, she fled the nook and stampeded upstairs to my lair. I pursued, pulse thundering in my chest, but she outpaced. By my threshold, she had barricaded within. "Mia, vacate my quarters." I hammered the panel, catching her rifling my chaos. "You overstep." "Oh, I have full claim," she taunted. "Our kin harbors no mysteries from me. I'm the fragile one, recall. I merit every whisper impacting my psyche." For 20 agonizing ticks, she demolished my haven. Drawers banged, sheets fluttered, my trinket chest tumbled. Parents at jobs, I stood powerless against her frenzy. When she strutted out, victorious, she brandished my Yale prize. "Well, isn't this quaint?" she crowed, flapping it like spoils. "Yale University. Fascinating." My veins iced over. "Hand it over." "Oh, Olivia," she cooed, laced with mock compassion. "You figured you'd cloak this from me? Your blood? utterly self-centered. That's when I dawned. This transcended the parchment. This unearthed a malice beyond my nightmares. Mia didn't merely fume over the Yale reveal. She spun it into her magnum opus. First, she resealed in my den and fired up recording. Beyond the barrier, her cries echoed. Not raw, heartfelt grief, but scripted wails with artful hitches. "This is our daily hell," she moaned to her lens. "Sis scoops all the glory while I scrape zilch. She conceals her feats 'cause she knows it'll wound, but the deceit, the hush, it's mental mayhem." Then, a crash of shards. She'd hurled an object at my glass pane. "Mia!" I bellowed, battering the frame. "Cease wrecking my nest." But she pressed on. Chairs scraped, more thuds. A heavy slam like her frame against plaster. When the latch yielded, her brow bloomed purple. Limbs scored, mane a frizzed halo. "Behold your handiwork," she breathed, thrusting her device. "See your greed's toll?" The clip streamed live to Insta, Reels, and Threads. She looped in Yale across posts. Headline, twisting my gut. "When your kin buries her unionod 'cause she deems you too broken to bear it. Behold kin cruelty. Hashtag mind matters. Hashtag clan scars. Hashtag Yale." But the cruelest instant? Her stare through those contrived streams. Orbs sparkling. Not woe, but glee. "I rang admissions while locked away," she murmured, "just for my ears. Told him you've battered me for ages, and I feared speaking sooner 'cause you'd sworn silence. Mom backed it when they probed." The ground swayed. "Pardon?" "I claimed you strike during my hay spells, exploiting my fog to lash out. Forwarded footage of my marks." She waved at her staged gashes. "They insist on reviewing your fit, given this fresh light on your temperament." My grip quaked. Words fled. Mom endorsed what? Unwittingly. Yale queried on flags Ray Olivia's conduct toward her challenged kin. Mom vented on wrangling my chaos, the toll on us all, my flare-ups where I self-harm. Meant to aid, but Mia dismissed with a lift. Framing's key. Yale's ring pierced that eve. My nod revoked, awaiting probe into the mistreatment claims. Devoted to secure havens for every soul, they couldn't chance one with loves of preying on the frail. 4 years, pristine scores, endless cram sessions, an essay on surmounting home trials that left my lit prof misty. Vanished. Perched amid my ravaged Nux debris, a cord within severed. Not in shards, but sharp focus. If Mia craved the stage, I'd script her epic bow. That dusk, as Mia toasted her win with Rocky Road scoops and a Pixar binge, I plotted payback. No shouts, no brawls, no dipping to her ruin. Nah, I'd grant Mia her dream, the grandest, spotlight-soaked eruption of her saga, and she'd direct her own downfall. The chance bloomed 2 weeks hence, eavesdropping her gabbing with confidant Sophia on the Berkeley summer workshop. "It's near a lock to their degree track," Mia bubbled, "but a closing review looms next month. The lead, Miss Elizabeth Hargrove, visits Evergreen High to vet the final hopefuls. Ace this tryout, and life's mapped." I dug that night. Miss Hargrove, lauded dancer and Berkeley prof. Crucially, per a Dance Mag Q&A last year, her girl battled intense ADHD through junior high till the Ideal Meds and Counsel clicked. Ideal. For 3 ensuing weeks, I morphed into nightmare Sib, but calculated. I spritzed that lavender mist from Lush that Mia swore induced migraine overloads. I drummed my stylus amid her lounge drills. I propped my biotome agape on the counter, aware my scholar glow would spike her jitters. Daily, I nudged a tad harder, clocking her flares, decoding the precise brew to tip her brink. She'd gripe to Mom on my thoughtlessness, but I held alibis. Just my scent. Simply studying. Forgot the beat irked folks. The genius? Mia couldn't gripe loud without seeming trivial. She'd primed our elders to peg me as flawed for moons. Now she swallowed the fallout of painting me innately careless. On eval morn, I staged flawlessly. The slot hit 10 a.m. in the campus studio hall, but Mia traversed the front atrium to reach. I clocked in early, fanning my advanced trig sheets over a bench by the ingress, stocked with vivid orange and teal markers, the shades she vowed scorched her senses. I knew Mia'd bite such bait. She'd clock me perched, spy the prime arena before the decider who could crown her, and instinct would seize. At 9:45, her steps resounded the corridor. Showtime. Mia crested the atrium arch and froze, tryout in 15. She eyed me, the portal where Ms. Hargrove lingered, then me again. I near saw her scheming whirl. Tantrum here? This key figure would behold, one versed in ADHD, one granting grace, one framing her as prey, not puppeteer. She'd rehearsed this a legion times, but now she tripped my snare. Mia inhaled deep and ignited her soliloquy. "Olivia," she howled, volume shattering the hush for all ears. "You knew my showcase today. You're derailing me deliberate." She hurled into an adjacent seat, keening with pro-flair. "You grasp lavender sparks my haze fits, vivid swamp my inputs, yet you lounge here to doom me." Spot on. Ms. Hargrove stepped from the hall, tresses of ash in a sleek coil, mean poised yet probing. She evoked a vet of youth tempests, but her girls' trials likely honed her gravity. "What's the uproar?" Ms. Hargrove queried, flipping a compact ledger. Mia amplified, all in. "Sis ignores my ADHD, plotting to torch my stage fate. She parked amid my pitfalls 'cause she envies my gift." I lounged mute, letting Mia excavate her pit. Her spotlight, after all. Ms. Hargrove scribbled, but her mask stayed even. "What aids do you seek for your ADHD, usually?" "Banish her," Mia begged via streams. "I require sanctuary. Can't shine mid-flare." Understood. Ms. Hargrove's nib danced. "Your form notes meds for ADHD. Swallowed yours this morn?" Mia's act snagged. A micro-stutter in Wales. "Mum oversees that bit." Ms. Hargrove dipped sage. "Berkeley's workshop mandates firm med adherence for verified cases. You filed the right health forms, yes?" Mia's flow ebbed. She willed fresh ones, but Ms. Hargrove's lilt unnerved. But I skipped the pills 'cause I peddle." Mia reeled, orbs flaring at her slip. Ms. Hargrove paused, serene, nib at ready. Mia flailed to reboot, hacking coughs. "She's muddling me. Can't parse when she prods thus." "The meds," Ms. Hargrove urged soft. "Why evade?" "I barely warrant 'em, 'cause the label is—" Mia blanched total, grasping her brink. "The label is—" Ms. Hargrove coaxed, tranquil. Mia trapped, eyes flicking me, her, the ingress like prey. Crocodile streams evaporated, frame quaked, not flare, but terror. "Phony," she hissed faint. "Mom's pal's a doc assistant. She penned the note for perks and test extensions." "But Olivia's to blame. She tripped my tongue. She scrambled me." Ms. Hargrove fished her cell. I'd breathe nil the whole clash, nor required. Mia'd raised her throne. The fallout cascaded like pins in rhythm. Miss Hargrove alerted campus brass, then precinct. In an hour, Mom and Dad huddled in Principal Hayes' den as a stern cop grilled Mia on med scams and scholar cheats. Hawking ADHD scripts? Federal foul. Faking docs? Scam spanning states. The doc aide crafting the sham? Mom's old dorm pal, Lisa, braced for credential yank and court dates. But the poetry? Beholding Mom and Dad's masks crack as Verity spilled. "So the ADHD was fabricated?" Dad echoed, tone vacant with shock. "Every bit?" Mia mustered a final gasp, sprawling on the admin rug, baying suicidal strain. But sans believers in her plight, it rang as ever. A brat's sulk. The script she touted? Officer clarified she hawked to peers at $20 per pop.
tracked 12 takers these 2 years. Mom's visage folded, but the shrink, Dr. Thompson, he vouched the tag. Ma'am, probe shows your girl never met Dr. Thompson. Booked opener, then bailed and looped for half year. Used the slot's proofs to sell you on care. The hearth hummed hollow that eve. Mia bunked county youth hold pending counts, while Mom and Dad perched at our spread, stitching 4 years' deceit. All those outs we forced on you, Mom wept, rivulets carving, all those pleas to hush, shrink, yield to her. The bash, Dad choked, your Yale nod, Lord Olivia, our sins? I ought to have crowed triumph. Revel. Yet mostly hollow rang. Yale? Bridge scorched. And truth? Unsure I'd join a spot so swift to damn me. But MIT was backup gold, and they warmed to my tale with grace. 6 moons on, Mia logged park cleanup for script swindle, homebound under watch. Booted from Evergreen, she scraped senior at all ed. Unis shunned her file. She peddled to ears open that I'd framed her, twisted her spill. In her tale, victim crown clung, but after 4 years' hush, none tuned in. I launched at MIT that autumn, scholarship-laden, horizon mine alone. Mom and Dad ferried me westward, sniffling regrets nonstop, vowing amends, faith, no more shadows cast. Some revenges skip the score. Some just unveil the mask, letting the globe judge the face beneath. And often, that's plenty.